Easy people, hope you're all doing okay. Very interesting place where I am right now. We are at the Welland Viaducts and this place is incredible. It's actually the longest viaduct over a valley in the United Kingdom, here in Northamptonshire, near to Corby, out towards this sort of way. Just really a breathtaking piece of ingenuity. The camera will not do it justice. Yeah, I'm already just mesmerised by looking at this place. You can't really see how far it goes on into the distance, but as I was approaching this area, I've just parked under the bridge. You could see it for miles. It's really is fantastic, breathtaking. So just to give a little bit of information about the viaducts. Viaducts are tributed really with the Victorians. They say they built these for railways over rivers and valleys, but it's the ingenuity part that is simply breathtaking. You know, the amount of bricks that are used at this in particular viaduct is 30 million. 30 million bricks are used for the 82 arches. 82 arches that are 40 foot in diameter. I mean, really it is an incredible piece of ingenuity. Now, many repairs have been undertaken over the years, part collapses, but the official narrative tells us that they built this in the late 1800s in only 3 years. In actual fact, it only took them 13 months to complete the arches, which I find, yeah, well, you know, I cannot buy that in any way whatsoever. 30 million bricks, 82 arches, 40 foot apart. I don't know how long it would take to build such a thing, especially when you're dealing with primitive tools. They were using horse to transport all of the materials that would have been used for such a thing. But if we can see just over here in the distance, the red brick exposure, so it's a mix of red and blue brick, but originally it was all red brick. This red brick, they say they've had to change much of the outer casing over the years because of water damage and these kind of things, but underneath the surface is the original red brick, and we still see lots of it exposed in places. This is the mighty river that they had to cross, the River Welland. Obviously it is a valley that they've come across too, but really, would they build all of this just to cross this mighty river in the background? I'll leave that up to you to decide. I'm going to give you a pan. As I say, it will not do it any justice, but just to show you. So this viaduct is in the village of Harringworth, next to Seaton in Northamptonshire, but it is known as the Welland Viaduct because this is the River Welland in the background. They attribute much of the viaducts found all over the realm to the Victorians. Some in particular that are pretty well known are the 7 arches in Sri Lanka, up at Ella, attributed again with the British. The British like to claim that we built many things in the realm today, but I would suggest that this is just an agreed version of events, not necessarily the truth, because the sheer ingenuity of a project such as this surely would require some form of technology, some form of power. To suggest that horses, people with very primitive tools were able to build 82 arches 40 foot apart in just under 3 years really is, you know, it's a stretch to say the least. Just for a bit of reference, I believe it took them longer to build the new Wembley Stadium in the UK with all of the power tools, the cranes, all of the heavy machinery. It took them longer to build Wembley Stadium than this unbelievable structure. Look at the width of each pillar. No wonder it took 30 million bricks to complete this viaduct, this one viaduct. Just incredible, an incredible piece of ingenuity. Everything about it is breathtaking. It's all well and good saying the agreed version of our history likes to attribute all of these wonderful structures to the Victorians in particular, attributed with many great things. But how did they build it? It's no good just saying it comes from that era. They only had horse and cart and you know, primitive tools, because this was built in 1870. How would we go about doing such a task today? Could we even go about doing such a task today in under 3 years? I don't think we could. I do not think we could. Not with just horses and sheer manpower. I find that absurd. The alleged builders of this viaduct are John Aird & Co, or at least John Aird & Co are the ones attributed with the project. And rather interestingly, they're also attributed with the construction of the Crystal Palace and the relocation. I'm sure Crystal Palace is a phrase or a name that everybody has at least heard in the United Kingdom and around the realm because of the football team. But what is less known is what Crystal Palace actually was. And it was a Crystal Palace, clues sort of in the name. A fantastic structure to say the least, and a real shame that we no longer have it. Perhaps because of the antiquitech that was involved in such a project couldn't be on display today, otherwise it would cause more questions than can possibly be covered up. I would love to hear from any builders, people involved in the construction industry, what their thoughts are on such a project. Less than 3 years, armed only with primitive tools and horse and cart. The project would require 30 million bricks. How would you go about doing such a project today? How realistically is that achievable? Is it even achievable? So I would love to hear in the comments from anybody involved in the construction industry what they think of this. Here we can see lots of the restoration that's gone on, especially up in the arches here with the new brickwork alongside the original red brick that was along this whole viaduct. All red brick, Tartarian red brick. The size of the pillars, really, just incredible. Just to add some information on Sir John Aird from the construction company. He was a first baronet, the first mayor of Paddington, and served for the Conservative Party within the UK political spectrum. So an interesting character attributed with many things, and this is something that we find more often than not when we actually dive in deeper as to the names attributed with such projects. So let me know what you think on this one, guys. Absolutely breathtaking place. I'm sure that the camera footage doesn't do it the justice that it's needed. If you're ever within the vicinity in the Northamptonshire area, I would highly recommend just swinging by and just going for a little walk along this incredible project. Really still giving me lots of excitement now just wandering around it. So yeah, I think this is a good place to end the video. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, have a wonderful day and I'll catch up with you soon. Peace out.